Hello and welcome to a quick overview of Bohemian Violin Expansion 1. Finally, we get the chance to actually fly through some of the key features which the expansion brings to the table. And boy, we've got quite a few of them. Right. So, first of all, you heard me just play a little bit of sort of Tchaikovsky improv, just live on the piano without any key switching. And we're gonna play in that mode pretty much the whole time in this style without actually using any CC or heavy key switching or anything like that. We will do more detailed tutorials later on each individual functions, how to control bowing or how to add further rhythmical patterns to things and things like that. But those will be each individual separate modes. Now, first of all, expansion 1 brings about a wide variety of on-bow legatos, which is when you connect the same note on the bow without changing direction of the bow. And it also evolves on how these things are addressed extensively because the original performer only knew how to bow and therefore it bow changed on every new note. Now, of course, it's cool, especially in folky style music, but when it actually gets to more complex works, you actually require to do on-bow legato, and that is what this expansion brings about. Now, we have recorded a variety of the on-bow legatos, so without actually swamping the composer with loads of key switches or loads of CC data to drive things, we've created something we call moods, and we're very proud of it because it basically changes the behavior of the performer as a whole. So the first mood we'll have a look at is improv. It basically is the performer acts like an improviser, quite boisterous and open to play anything really, and it's quite flexible. It doesn't slot you into any heavy rhythmical pattern or any style, and it's a great one to start with if you're looking for an idea and you just want to sit down and play a tune. Improv is the way to begin if you don't know where you're gonna settle. So I'm just gonna play a little bit live on the keyboard, and before I do that, I'm just going to switch to the settings page now, so we can actually see all that is there in the expansion one. But without further ado, let me play with the improv one first. Right. So that was the improv. So now we can actually have a look at the settings page a bit more because we're now in, so we can actually have a look at the settings page. Now, first of all, on the top, we've got the long notes. So we've got the arcs, mid arcs, sustains, all that, the usual. You'll actually know all of them from the original version, excluding marcatos on this. Now, marcatos are a new bow extensively used by Char-dash mood, and there are well standard marcatos with quite a longish sustain thereafter, allowing you to blend it quite nicely to a various styles. Now we also have now the legato types, and this is the really important part. When we've originally set out to record the Bohemian Violin, we knew that we wanted to do an on-bow legato, but we weren't 100% sure how to best approach it. And the consensus on the industry is pretty much that this is the challenge, the on-bow legato. So we took it on and we wanted to do it in three dynamics. However, the problem with dynamics is that it's not enough. You actually need to do more than just dynamics. You need to do tempos. You need to do momentum, the bow speed, the bow traffic, the energy of the note. And once we realized that, and we still stuck to our idea of doing it in dynamics, we've suddenly realized that actually, after the early tests, we've got a lot of work to do. And that, of course, meant that we need to spend a long time developing this. But boy, it's worth it. It really is. So what we have is we've got legato such as the whole note, quarter note, half note. Now, what does that actually mean? Well, it's the speed of the bow traffic, the bow momentum, so to speak. It affects the whole energy of the piece. Now, the whole notes are much slower, much more relaxed, much more just emotionally lighter and sort of deep but light. And they are brilliant for the lower dynamics. Now, the next one we have is the half notes. Now, they are very expressive. It's sort of the ideal speed of the bow on the violin. So they allow for beautiful rich slurs and packing a lot of vibrato and a lot of expressivity. So they're great for improv and things like that. And then finally we've got the quarter notes and the trills and runs, and these are absolutely brilliant for any faster passages or if you want to avoid slurs, because we don't actually have slurs on these anymore. So they are mostly fingered or string changed legatos. So while they're on the same bow, they don't carry any slur in them until the really high notes where you just can't avoid some slur. So now we're gonna play the next mood, and let's see all this the legato talk in practice, because Char-dash is exactly that. It's more energy packed, it's more dynamic, and it has more grunge and bite, and it's brilliant for the higher dynamics. So let's run the Char-dash and play through that quickly and see what I come up with. Right. Now, that I think that's sort of clearly shown the benefits or the differences between the moods. They are all really suitable for a slightly different way of performing. And what's great there, I didn't have to do all the key switching. I didn't have to drive the legato types. I didn't have to, do pretty much anything. Then say, right, I'm going to play something faster, something a bit, bitier, and something more sort of, how would I call it? And something more just energetic, and I could just do that with a single key switch and go into a mood, and that's it. And this is something we heavily want to expand on, so we hope to start a conversation on this. Please tell us, what else would you like to see, what else would you like us to do with the moods? So we've now shown the improv, the Char-dash. We've talked a little bit about the GOI, so let's carry on there. We've got a shorts and we've got the trail runs, staccatos, pizzicatos, spiccatos. Now you already know the other two, excluding the staccatos and the trail runs. Now the trail runs can only be activated on as part of a legato, so they are not something which is worth forcing unless you're actually playing a run or a trail. And we've got auto recognition in the system. So, of course, if you're trilling, it will know. It will realize you don't have to force it. It's just in case you want to, that it's more suitable than what the performer chose. Now, on the staccato front, we have, that's a brand new set of samples. And they're absolutely brilliant for doing, a bit of Vivaldi or a bit of Mozart. And they're just latch staccatos. Really great fun with these. And I had a lot of fun recording them. So I hope it shows. Spiccatos, pizzicatos are the same. Now, the one thing we've added into these is the latch function. Now, you see the symbol of clock. It basically means that will play only as long as you hold the fourth key down. So that's the old behavior in the original violin. And now we've got a latch function. When you click on the clock on the shorts, you can actually change it on the staccato, spiccato, and pizzicato to latch function. And that means that when you change it to the arrows, if you click the force key, it will just hold it. It will become a normal key switch. Until you click any other force key or click the same key switch again, then it will return back to the performer. Everything always comes back to the performer, unless directed otherwise, because that is the easiest way to keep it and keep the piece and the writing of the performer, whoever is playing the violin, fluent and just nice and fluid. So those are these, and then we've got the auto bow, which is an experimental feature. We'll do a tutorial on it later, and it's something we're planning to heavily expand. That's now one of our priorities for expansion 2, and we'll get into that more later. Now, of course, then we've got chords like we used to, and finally the moods. And the last mood we haven't shown yet is the emotive. Now, emotive is really suitable for the low dynamics, for the haunting, for the sad, for the somber, for the light on the bow parts and pieces. And so let me try to play a bit on that now and see how what I come up with. Okay, so that was the emotive mood, the last mood we were to show today, and I hope it's shown that the differences between the three moods, that they are really suited to different moods, different behaviors. I mean, that's why we call them, because the performer handles the phrases completely differently, and it addresses them in a different style. Now, of course, that was what we want to expand on further, and we want to build up on this, but it sort of shows further where we're going with the Soul Capture series, and why we've called this that it's a library that will go through evolution. Every update really brings quite a lot of new features, and the expansion one brings a lot of it. Now, I believe I've actually spoke of the staccatos, but I haven't actually played any, so we're gonna make up for that now. So let me show you the staccatos really quick as well. I was actually a bit cheeky there. I turned on the Char-dash first, so I knew that I'll be opening with marcato, and then I forced the staccatos on for the passages where I wanted it to do basically the double stops. And it's just one of the ways to use the moods as well, is that you can actually combine a number of different behaviors together and work with them on the fly, which again just speeds up your work and makes it more intuitive. And I've just also realized that I haven't actually shown you portamente or haven't even talked about it. We already have fingered and slurred, and especially on the expressive legatos, which are the sort of the half-speed legatos, the slurs are quite pronounced, but they are not portamento. We do have a separate portamente which can be forced on, and we've actually sampled it between first and 12th interval, going up and down, and it's actually done in two dynamics as well, with a bow up and down. So it's very extensive portamento sampling, as usual with us. And when you force it on, basically the next transition while you're forcing it will be portamente. Yeah? So let me just quickly show a couple transitions of, or a few transitions of the portamente, and then we'll sort of move toward the end of this overview. So that is all for the quick overview. There isn't really any more to sort of show quickly. Everything else will require a bit more time. So what we're going to do is some tutorials over the coming weeks, which will show more of the features, which will go deeper into the features and into the styles and how to use some of the force keys to enhance your work further. But what we firstly wanted to show is that without even knowing anything about this instrument, you're basically just able to load it up and play. And that is what we're extremely proud of. And that's where we want to carry on expanding the Soul Capture series and the Bohemian Violin, is finally capturing the performer, not just the instrument, but the performer. And thank you very much for joining us on this journey. And I hope you're just as excited as we are about this expansion. Thank you very much.